guys, so for those of you who follow me on Instagram, you will know that I've been on Fiasp for I think almost a month now, and I decided to make a video to talk about my experiences with it and what I think so far. I've been meaning to do this for a while, but my opinions on it just keep changing, so I might end up making another video because I'm still not really sure what I think. So this is what it looks like. It comes in the same box as Nova Rapid did, and really the only difference is the stuff that it's dissolved in. So the actual insulin is, from my understanding, is the same like molecule, but it just has other things dissolved in it to make it more soluble, I guess, so that it acts faster. The main one that is of interest is this vitamin B3, also known as nicotinamide, which they've dissolved it in to make it act quicker. I'll come back to why that's important later on in the video. So this is the vial. It's pretty similar to Nova Rapid, just that it says Fiasp at the top. Yeah. So the main reason that I wanted Fiasp and why I was really excited about it when my doctors first mentioned it back in, I think, January, February, was because I really wanted an insulin to act faster. So at the time I was pre-bolusing probably about 15 to 30 minutes before every meal, with all the associated problems, so sometimes forgetting to eat, sometimes not being able to bolus that early. It's just not very convenient to have to have that 15 to 30 minute wait. And still afterwards, most of the time I would be spiking to, I guess, 9, 10, maybe even higher, would be normal for me. And also to bring down highs quicker. So that's something that I found really frustrating, was when you're high and you've corrected, but it still takes a while for it to come down. That's really what I wanted to fix. So I went into it kind of thinking, you know, I would keep everything the same, keep my doses the same, keep my sensitivity the same, and just have a new insulin that would somehow magically do everything that I wanted it to do without any problems. And that's not really what happened. Number one, it's faster acting than Nova Rapid, definitely. So it kicks in a lot faster than Nova Rapid. Pretty much within 10 minutes you can start to see a drop. So I actually, the other day I accidentally pre-bolused. I only left about 8 minutes between having the insulin and then I don't know why I did, I just kind of left a bit of time before I actually sat down to eat the meal. And I had already started to drop, so I started at like 6 and was at like 4 when I sat down to actually eat, and then stayed at 4 until my food kicked in, which was at least like half an hour. So it definitely kicks in a lot quicker, and that's what I wanted. The second pro, which is kind of, I mean, all the pros are kind of related, but the second pro for me is that highs come down really, really fast. Like, faster than I could even expect them to come down. Like, max of like half an hour and I'll be coming down. And they tend to be less high as well, so I will probably show you some graphs from my dexcom clarity to kind of show what I mean, but I really haven't had any like highs that are that bad, and that may be just because I'm still on vacation. I haven't had the stress of term time or you know, associated highs from that. But so far, touch wood, it seems to be keeping the highs to like 12, 13 as opposed to like 15. So that's good. Really the only highs that Fiasp hasn't managed to lower have been adrenaline related, and there's nothing really I can do for that because you can't really predict it. Yeah, so related to that, on my dexcom I've now set my high alarm to 8.5, which that to me seems incredible. Like, a year ago, if you'd have told me you're gonna set your high alarm to 8.5, like, that would have been ridiculous. because with Nova Rapid, pretty much every meal I would spike to at least 9-10 before coming down, and it would be fine because I'd come down fine and my ratios were fine. And now 8.5 is kind of that point where I'm like, did I calculate that wrong? And I'm not sure if that's entirely because of the Fiasp, because in the same time interval I also got a dexcom instead of my previous CGMs that I'd been using, so that could also play a part. And also being on vacation, having more time to dedicate to like just diabetes. But I do think a lot of it was Fiasp. Story number 3, which is related but kind of on a slightly different note. No more hassle with pre-bolusing. So for me, pre-bolusing did work. Like always some unwanted, I don't even know what to call them, like sometimes I would forget to eat after bolusing. You know, eating out is always difficult because you don't know how long your food's going to take. So at university we have kind of a canteen where everyone can eat together in hall. And the way it works is you go in and you get a tray and you grab whatever you want to eat and then you sit down and you eat it. There's no 15-minute wait there, like at all. It's all from, you know, selecting what you want to eat to sitting down and eating it. It's like 2 minutes. So pre-bolusing that is really difficult. Equally with eating out, like you think you know what you're ordering, but you don't know the portion size until it's like in front of you. So pre-bolusing for that is always tough. I guess the other thing that I was thinking of personally when I was thinking about pre-bolusing and whether or not I wanted to do it forever, when I qualify as a doctor, like I'm not necessarily going to have enough time to set aside, you know, in 15 minutes time I'm going to eat. Having the option of not needing to pre-bolus is great for that, in that respect, so yeah. Number 1 for me is the fact that my insulin sensitivity has definitely decreased. Now, I think this is a combination of a lot of different things, so I'm not sure what is just the Fiasp and what is, you know, other things such as not being in my normal daily routine because I'm on holiday and things like that. Also the site issues that I'm going to talk about. I've had to pretty much take everything by, like, multiplied up by a factor of 1.4, which is not too bad, but the bad thing is that it keeps like increasing. So I'm not sure if it's going to keep, my insulin requirements are going to keep increasing like regularly. But it's a bit concerning because I know other people have had this problem, and when we looked into it, it turns out that the vitamin B3 that I talked about, that's dissolved in the Fiasp as well as the actual insulin molecule, it actually can build up insulin resistance. So it's a bit weird that they've put it in, because it must obviously make it easier to absorb for your body, but at the same time, the same vitamin, the same molecule is making you more resistant. I don't know, I mean, it's probably not as big of a deal as I'm making it, but it's a bit frustrating. Con number 2 is to do with like fatty foods and anything from like curry to pizza, although I haven't had any pizza on Fiasp yet. Like burgers, chips, anything like that that's really fatty. Fiasp actually kicks in sometimes before the food, which isn't a problem that I ever thought I'd have. Like, that's not something that I ever considered, that your insulin could kick in before your food, but here we are, it's happened. Sometimes I've just had it like with normal food that's quite high in protein and whatever, and it's got quite a lot of stuff other than carbs. I think that seems to be the rule, like where there's a lot of other stuff that's not just carbs. And the way I've got around it is by setting a dual wave bolus, which was kind of familiar to me. I've done them before. I used to only do them with pizza for Nova Rapid, but apparently I now need them for more food. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. And sometimes it can be quite good, because if you set a dual wave bolus and you start eating and then you don't quite finish what you thought you were going to finish, you can always cancel it early. So that's quite good. Number 3, which is quite a big deal for me at the moment, is the site problems that I've had with Fiasp. Every single time that I've taken out a Fiasp site, it's been really red and sore and kind of a little lump underneath, like where the cannula was. They're small and they go away, so they're probably not a big deal, but I do know that when you get a lump, it does affect your sensitivity and it makes you more resistant. There's something that your doctor always like tells you about, like you make sure you're checking for lumps at your infusion sites, and I've never really had one that's significant. And I didn't really get it with NovaRapid. I think I've maybe had it once or twice in my whole like 10 years almost of using NovaRapid. Whereas with Fiasp, I've had it pretty much every single time that I've taken out a set. What I found that helped was changing every 2 days instead of every 3. It's a bit of a pain, but it works. The sites are not as bad. Second thing I'm currently like in the process of trying is looking at different sites that I could use. So Shorty I'm using at the moment, and it seemed to work a lot better with Shorty. So maybe it was just the case of the Teflon cannulas mixed with the Fiasp, something was going wrong there. So if anyone's not familiar with what I mean by Shorty, it's a different type of cannula, and this bit here has got a steel needle that stays in instead of a plastic cannula, and then it has a second adhesive patch where you connect and disconnect from. I used to use them a lot when I was younger and I didn't like the inserter devices, so it's not that difficult for me to go back to them now, but I know other people don't really like them and they can only stay in for a maximum of 2 days, which might be an issue for some people, but for me this seems to work so far, so I'm probably going to stick to that. The duration of the insulin, so even though Fiasp kicks in a lot quicker than NovaRapid, the actual duration of the insulin, which is like the time that it's in your body, is still pretty much the same. It's not out of your system any quicker, which was the other thing that I'd hoped for. But open this booklet that no one ever reads. Yeah, so the official line is that it has its maximum effect between 1 and 3 hours after the injection, and the effect lasts for 3 to 5 hours. So yeah, it still takes a long time to come out of your system. So insulin stacking is still a problem. So that's kind of something else that I'd hoped would be fixed by Fiasp, but wasn't exactly fixed. So the other thing I wanted to show you was my reports on Dexcom Clarity, and this is the past week, and you can see that there really haven't been any major highs. And the highest that I've reached is about 12 or so, and all of those highs have come down really fast. Yeah, so I think Fiasp was definitely helping to make the highs less high and also come down quicker. I have had other highs that have been higher than that. So the week before was a bit of a crazy week. Some of this was the skating competition. Most of this was adrenaline. So this one here, that was adrenaline. And this one here, that day was the competition day. And you can still see that when I've had these highs, it's come down really, really fast. Like the gradient on the downwards part is really steep, so it's doing its job of bringing me down really fast. Now, my A1C has never been that low. I'm normally hovering at around 7, so we'll see if this actually happens. I don't think it will, because as soon as I get back to normal life, I might start having a few more highs because of the stress and just being away at uni. But still, the fact that my average glucose is 6.6 is great. I don't have the pre-Fiasp data to show you because the time that I started Fiasp was almost the same time that I started Dexcom. But it's made an incredible difference having Fiasp.